Hello all of you beautiful people, Jules here for WhatCulture.com. And you know what, wrestling video game developers can't resist slotting in sly little digs at those lining company coffers, even when it is in good fun of course, or leaving a trail of clever Easter eggs that only hardcore fans would be able to find and fully appreciate. And you know what, tons of wrestling video games over the years have put down their tables, ladders and chairs and basically started having a bash at people on couches through the TV screen. So let's take a look at them today. So I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 times that wrestling video games broke the fourth wall. Number 10, Santino Marella, SmackDown vs. Raw 2010. So in this example, Santino Marella thinks you're a loser. Okay. Well, in SmackDown vs. Raw 2010, on one of the Road to WrestleMania stories, he says, "You're what some loser would create in a video game." And then Mr. Morella's character turns to the camera with a raised eyebrow and winks. This direct fourth wall breakage is probably one that most players have forgotten. Going back to play these SmackDown vs. Raw titles specifically to enjoy their bite-sized story offerings only makes one feel the need to bleat about the lack of such fun in modern 2K games. Still though, being called a loser by a man who literally had a wank sock on his hand, yeah, that's something. Number 9, Randy Orton and John Cena, SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. So in SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, Randy Orton winds John Cena up backstage and dares the poster boy to thump him like the thug he is. If the player chooses not to press X to hit Orton, then he'll begin taunting them with all manner of fourth wall shattering phrases. For example, Randy will say, "I play you like some video game, and you just keep letting me score points." Wait a minute, points? Surely the master of the RKO is confusing modern gaming with the arcade glory days. He's surely not even that old to remember that, the little scamp. But there we go, I guess it's official. Randy Orton believed in 2010, when this game was made and his voice lines were recorded, that video games still functioned on these basic point systems. How embarrassing, Randy. Number 8, Edge and Christian, SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. Trust those Canadian pranksters Edge and Christian to have the most fun with THQ's Road to WrestleMania wall breaking. In SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, Edge and Christian spend the majority of their story thread ribbing the customer base and chiding that people are weird for playing video games. Early on in the story, Edge starts yakking about the player, which confuses Christian. It isn't until Edge points at the camera and says, "You see that weirdo staring at us through the TV?" that his bud realizes what's going on. He's clearly been in the WWE for far too long and is therefore used to pretending that cameramen don't follow them around. Later in the mode, the pair continue having fun at the expense of gamers by saying, "You know, I wonder if that player dork thought you were gonna hit me," when it looks like that Edge might waffle Christian with a steel chair and turn on him. What a laugh. Number 7, The Miz, WWE 2K19. Remember 2K19? It was infinitely better than 2K20's absolute dire muck and may end up being the last playable entry in the core series until 2K pulls their fingers out in time for 2K22. The game also had one hell of an illusion-busting moment when Buzz from My Career was in the ring crowing on about creating his own title. "What do you think this is, WWE 2K19? This is real life. It's not pretend time," The Miz replies. Of course, players are able to manufacture their own belts in this game, and this is Miz's way of pimping out that feature. By calling Buzz's creativity pretend time though, he's having a subtle dig at the people playing the game and confirming his status as the storyline heel as well. Boo, you Miz, boo, how dare you refuse to give Buzz an intercontinental title shot and then ridicule him for building that beauty of a belt that took, well, maybe an hour at best. Yeah, actually probably more than an hour because actually trying to make the belt itself was incredibly fiddly. Still, it's going on the fridge, that's what we're saying. Number 6, The Dirt Sheet, SmackDown vs. Raw 2010. If they're so inclined, 2K could recreate this scene from SmackDown vs. Raw 2010 in one of their upcoming games. Back in 2009, The Miz and John Morrison bemoan Vince McMahon's lack of focus on ECW. Even THQ knew the Vin man didn't give a damn about the Extreme, and then rip into both world champs on Raw and SmackDown. Via their Dirt Sheet segment, Miz and Morrison, hey hey, ho ho, absolutely blast John Cena. But the best bit comes when they turn their attention to Triple H and Miz quips, "First off, only losers play games." Ouch. Well, that one actually hurt quite a bit. And this gets referenced later in the story too when the color commentator Matt Stryker brings it up during one of the matches. Morrison's answer of, "It's true," is classic trolling from these boys. It's like THQ knew what was going to happen to their series once 2K irked Ukes to the point where senior vice president and producer Hiromi Furuta decided to up sticks and leave for greener pastures. It's your fault, loser. Number 5, 2 words for ya. WWE All Stars. During their most recent runs, D-Generation X became wink-wink, nudge-nudge shills who veered into corporate territory before snapping out of it. They'd often name-drop items for sale via the WWE shop and then realized that they'd been warped by the system. It was cheesy, but, harmless fun. During one story route in the Path of Champions mode, Triple H and Shawn Michaels directly promote the game that they're currently starring in. Michaels can be seen holding a copy of All Stars, and he says it's worth picking up. After that shill for a product that players have actually already paid for if they're seeing this, the DX crew then stare down the camera, point and say their "suck it" catchphrase. It would have been even better had they said, "We've got 2 words for you, fourth wall," or something like that, but we'll take what we can get. Number 4, commentary confusion, WWE All Stars. And there's actually one more fourth wall shattering moment in All Stars that's definitely worth mentioning. If you start up a multiplayer match and don't touch either controller, both Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler start to get a bit tetchy on commentary. At first, they'll make jokes about how the fans must be thrilled about the lack of action, but then they'll directly speak to the player responsible. Lines like, hey you, yeah, I'm talking to you, pick up the controls and get this match going," from Lawler, and "hello, hey, will somebody press a button already," from JR, are actually pretty funny little Easter eggs that most wouldn't actually be expecting. They help give the game a quirky flavor that definitely suits it. Number 3, commentary awareness, WWE 12. The absurdity of playing as Taz whilst Taz is actually also commentating shouldn't be lost on anyone who picks up an older WWE game. This is true for the likes of Jerry Lawler, JBL, and even Michael Cole as well. All of these characters have snappy lines when they're calling their own matches, but Cole's is arguably the best of the bunch. If you play as him in WWE 12 and then lose the match easily, you'll hear Cole whine, "Hey, I didn't lose, there must be some kind of glitch in this game." And he can also be found bantering back and forth with Taz in SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 whenever the human suplex machine starts to put himself over as thickly muscled, handsome, and just a great guy that everyone should play as. Number 2, pick Hogan or someone else. WCW Thunder. Boom, it's a WCW game. Despite being one of the worst wrestling games ever made, this is actually a nice change of pace for this list. It was also produced by THQ, and it famously included individual wrestler rants for everyone on the character select screen. Some of them are pure gold. Kevin Nash instructs players to go pick Hogan or somebody else, and warns them that they lack the mental skills and dexterity to play as him. Meanwhile, Scott Hall seems to misunderstand what picking a wrestler actually means. He tells the gamer that he'll rub their faces into the mat and calls them little punk, and then misconstrues entirely that they actually want to control him, not fight him. It's a complete riot from some of the roster. There's more fourth wall breaking goodness here from Raven as well. He says that players can pick him or pick somebody else, but he just wants them to leave him alone. Oh, bless him. And number 1, Triple H, WWF Attitude. So in WWF Attitude, Triple H's entrance actually houses a hidden gem. When he's running through his usual speech, he says, "For the thousands in attendance, the millions watching at home, and for the one badass guy sitting on his couch playing his video game." Ah, isn't that nice? And mid-match, if he's kicking ass, he'll also shout lines like, "If I was you, I'd hit the reset button now," or "Put down the controller, get off the couch and get to the gym, fat ass." Ah, body shaming Mr. Helmsley? Ah, tut indeed. Seriously though, that's actually great stuff and actually livens up the experience somewhat. But before I go, my friends, I hope that you have a fantastic day, whatever it is you get up to. Go out there and absolutely smash it, because you deserve love, happiness, and success. We all do as human beings, and do not let anything or anyone tell you otherwise, alright? You're a big ledge in my eyes. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.